again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. It's a podcast I know from Orlando, Florida, on this awesome and international podcast, Good Wine and Great Laughs, the podcast for wine lovers, ladies and gents, summer movies, reviews, and hot topic discussions, ladies and gents. If you're new to my new YouTube channel, I am Casanova, your host. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I have the wine of the day. I'm going to open this wine here shortly. I'll give some information about the wine. And then after that, I'm going to come with some videos related to the topic of the day, ladies and gents. And the topic of the days are always topics that can affect our lives directly or indirectly, ladies and gents. And during the summer months of June and July, I'll take a break. I will focus on hot topics and I do summer movies reviews. Any movies that come to the movie theaters, and any other major platform such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and so forth. All right, so if you like the work that I do, ladies and gents, I appreciate if you click on the like button, ladies and gents, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and share the video that you watch with at least 5 people you know. That's all I'm asking for. I appreciate your support. Love you with all my heart. All right, so today is Saturday, October the 18th, 2025, and the weather here in Orlando will be with the interval of clouds and sunshine, highs of 83 and lows of 63 degrees, ladies and gents. I'm liking the temperature is now finally dropping during the evenings or early mornings. I appreciate that. Okay, ladies and gents. So let's talk about the wine of the day here. And before I talk about the topic of the day, and I don't know, for those that are new to my YouTube channel, I already have before a white Malbec. And I have the picture over here on episode 8, season 11, episode 8. I have here the Trivento. Take a look at it right there, again close. That was the first white Malbec that I ever had. But like I state on the podcast, I think that particular wine was very high in acidity. I personally was not a fan of this. So I was walking the same supermarket, Hispanic supermarket around, and I saw these right here. So you can see right here, it's called Reserva. It's an out white Malbec. As you can see, the color of this one looks more like a Pinot Grigio, a Chardonnay. The other one was completely clear, just water. It stays right here that Reserva de los Andes is in this winery since 1882, ladies and gents. It's a white Malbec from Mendoza, Argentina, vintage of 2024. And according to the label right here, they have in English, in Spanish and English, so I can read both, but let me just read this English version. At an altitude of 700 meters, you'll find the route, a dreamlike landscape between poplar and willows that lead you to the century-old winery. True to the origins of the Italian founders and the path laid out by generations, its wine reflects philosophy, work, passion, and commitment, connecting each of the production links. Alcohol percent of this wine is at 13.4. So let's open this beauty over here. Ooh la la. And let's compare this wine with the other Malbec from different brands. I'm guessing that I may like this one better than the previous one, but who knows? Let's air out this beauty right here. Wonderful. time. All right. Color. Ladies and gents, this wine is much, much better than previous white Malbec that I had. It does have a level of acidity on this one, but it's way, way lower than the previous one. I definitely like this white Malbec right here. And like I said, to me, I would compare this with the Pinot Grigio, but in the lower level. But still a very pleasant wine, ladies and gents. I definitely compare to the other white Malbec, and this one, I definitely give a 10 for this one because it's much, much better wine in my humble personal opinion, ladies and gents. So if you like to find out this wine, the picture is available on all my social media. Excuse me. Like I always publish every Saturday morning. Once the episode is posted on my YouTube channel and start distributing to the other podcast platform, I start posting the picture on all my social medias as well. All right, ladies and gents, let's talk about the topic of the day for season 11, episode 12. And as you saw on the thumbnail, the topic is Young MAGA Leadership's Racism Exposed on Telegram app. I like to give credit to Roland, Unfiltered, and Don Lemon, ladies and gents. You're going to watch some videos, those two videos with me while I'm drinking this wine, and I make some delicious sandwich right here. So I'll be drinking and eating while you watch this video together. And at the end of this video, I will give you my 2 cents about what I think of today's episode. So enough talking. It is showtime.
So welcome to the show. Glad that you are here. Let's get right into this. Politico got their hands on thousands of private messages of these young GOP leaders. It was in this app called Telegram. They were joking about all sorts of different things: gas chambers, slavery, rape, using the N-word, all sorts of stuff. Politico called the headline, "I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat," where they referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. Kansas Young Republicans Vice Chair William Hendricks, former Vice Chair of the New York State Young Republicans Bobby Walker, and Chairman of the Association of New York State Young Republicans Club Peter Giunta were among the Republican leaders named in the report. Giunta reportedly apologized, saying, quote, "I am so sorry to those offended by the insensitive and inexcusable language found within the more than 28,000 messages of a private group chat that I created during my campaign to lead the Young Republicans." The 2,800 pages of chats shared among Young Republicans between January and mid-August, a few of these folks no longer have jobs. Well, guess what, y'all? Here are a few of the leaked messages. Let's go to the first one. Look what it says right here. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. When did we start bullying, dude? We have 3 solid people who can probably have them want to jump. If they vote for us, why would they be gas? When do we bring that side out? I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. Can we fix we only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We got to pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in, take a nice shower and relax. Boom, they're dead. Okay. That's how we do it. Let's see here. Let's go to the next one. I had some back and forth with the VC in Michigan. Current chair is a deer in headlights. We have a call Wednesday. Many agree. He did say, my delegates, I will bring vote. I will vote for the most right-wing person. Great. I love Hitler. Joe, did you look it up yet? Just did. Probably shouldn't have on my work computer. The Spanish came to America and had sex with every single woman. Sex is gay. Sex, it was rape. Epic. Let's go to my panel. Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice with the EPA out of D.C. Dr. Larry J. Walker, associate professor, University of Central Florida out of Orlando. Cameron Trimble. I'm getting lots of feedback. Is there like some machine on or something? I don't know what I'm hearing a lot. Cameron Trimble is CEO of Hip Politics Media and former White House senior advisor, also out of D.C. So, whole lot of fun stuff coming from these right-wing young Republicans. Sound just like their Jim Crow grandfathers, Cameron.
Yes, we shouldn't be shocked, though. I think Trump has really, and the right wing and GOP has given so much space and place to both racist, fascist, sexist, and so much more. Like they took the governors off, and they're just willing to, like he said in one of those messages, just go for true believers. I think that was such a half-hearted response, and I wouldn't even call it an apology from one of their leaders. But I'm curious to how this moves the needle, or if it just further exposes what a lot of us already feel is that sentiment. I think I'm glad that Politico and that there are still some news outlets doing this type of digging and being able to bring more of this to the light. But it just shouldn't come as a shock. It's probably just more of a confirmation of how a lot of us are already feeling about how they recruit and where they recruit and their sentiments.
When we talk about this comment, can we fix the showers, go to my iPad, gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic, that was Joe Maligno, who previously identified himself as the general counsel for the New York State Young Republicans. According to Politico, it say right here, since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job and another job was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Representative Elise Stefanik and State Senate Minority Leader Rob Ort, have denounced the chat, and festering resentments among young Republicans have now turned into public recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. And again, they found some 2,900 pages, and it was shared among a dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans, chronicling their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members, Larry, already work inside government or party politics, and one serves as a state senator. This is what they say, Larry. Together, the messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, and where the Trump-era loosening of political norms has made such talk feel less taboo among those positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. Well, that's no shock there.
Right.
No, none of this is surprising, Roland. And one of the things I want to highlight, we're using the word young Republicans. These are all working adults. As you highlighted, some of those have lost a job. And I read the Political article. You talked about the individual that, had the job offer rescinded. The other point is, and I think my colleague made that point really well, this is part of the ecosystem. This is not, podcasts, whether you have a, text thread. This is the Republican ecosystem we've seen over the last several years that they've developed, and this racist, sexist rhetoric has continued to grow. Roland, when I worked on the Hill, this kind of stuff was more fringe, right? People said it, but it wasn't like we see it on some of these major platforms, podcasts, and obviously this text thread. This is another example of the kind of folks that have grown and developed and lead to this festering disease that we have in the United States for generations as it relates to racism. So none of this is surprising. Those folks should be out. as we've seen from the political article and some of the responses we've seen from New York State officials, and publicly flogged, because this is racist. And the Republican Party has to deal with the fact that they cultivated this, and then folks like us have to deal with the repercussions.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. And if you go on here, this is what they say, Mustafa, this is the political piece. At least one person in the Telegram chat works in the Trump administration. Michael Bartles, who, according to his LinkedIn account, serves as a senior advisor in the Office of General Counsel within the U.S. Small Business Administration. Bartles did not have much to say in the chat, but he didn't offer any pushback against the offensive rhetoric in it either. He declined to comment. A notarized affidavit signed by Bartles and obtained by Politico also sheds light on the intra-party rivalry that led the Restore War Room Telegram chat to be made public. Bartles references Wax as well. This is the person. He wrote that he did not give Politico the chat and that Wax demanded in a phone call he provide the full chat log. When I attempted to resist that demand after providing some of the requested information, Wax threatened my professional standing and raised the possibility of potential legal action related to an alleged breach of a non-disclosure agreement. My position within the New York Young Republican Club was directly threatened. But the reality is, when you look at this chat here, now, of course, they apologize. And, this guy Walker, he apologized and all this sort of stuff. And they said all kinds of things. They called folks faggot, retarded. Nigger appeared more than 250. So faggot, retarded, and nigger appeared more than 251 times combined. They talked about some Indian woman saying, oh, she didn't bathe. Look at this here. In a separate conversation, Giunta shared that his flight to Charleston, South Carolina landed safely. Then he offered some advice for his fellow young Republicans. Quote, if your pilot is a she and she looks 10 shades darker than someone from Sicily, just end it there. Scream the no word. Really, that's who they are. That's who they are. And these are the people. Look at this here. This is the guy Bobby Walker. This is this guy Giunta. Look at the young Republicans. These are the people. Just so everybody says, these are the faces of the future Republican leaders of tomorrow.
Nobody is born racist, right? You have to be taught to be racist. There are a number of psychological analyses out there that actually walk us through that. These are the sins, right? These are the sins of their grandfathers and great-grandfathers and fathers and mothers that have now infiltrated these young people. So they've learned this behavior. So if folks actually want any type of change to happen, it's not about ignoring this, right? This is now being ingrained into the next generation of their party, or at least a part of the party. So they have to take responsibility for this. But there is also responsibility when you're a young person and you're growing up. You have responsibility also for your actions. So if these are the types of belief systems that you live by, if these are the types of actions that you're willing to do, then you also have to deal with the repercussions that come from this type of behavior, this type of rhetoric, and also the actions that come out of it, because we know that there are folks in this country who are influenced by many folks who are in the political spectrum. And that means that if somebody goes out and beats somebody, somebody goes out and rapes somebody, if somebody goes out and kills somebody, and you have played a role in influencing that because you dehumanized others, then you have a responsibility for paying for the role that you played in this moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is who these folks are. This is another one of them. His name is William Hendricks. This is who he is. Oh, yeah, these are people who think that they should be running the show. That's what you did. Let's pull a photo up of all of them, all 7 of them. These are the folks. I mean, look at them. Oh, boy, yeah. This right here, that's your future Republican Party. That's them right there. That's your future state senators and governors and state reps and members of the House and members of the Senate. These are the people going to be serving in the Trump administration, and just understand how these folks roll. And so you look at the language that they use, and keep in mind what you're looking at here, Cameron, is also remember you had some avowed racists that was in Trump's first administration who they fired, but they welcomed them back into the fold. They now have jobs as well. And the White House got upset with Politico when they said that Trump's rhetoric caused this. And let's just be real clear. Donald Trump can't escape this. Donald Trump's full embrace of racism and the language that he uses has led for Republicans to say, we're good. Yo, we can say and do whatever the hell we want to because the big man, he does it. So we can do it as well. That's what's going on right now, period. Cameron, how you hitting the mute button, bro?
I didn't hit the mute button. My bad, bro. I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Cameron, anybody else there with you?
No.
So how'd you go on mute?
That was an accident.
Oh, but you hit the mute button. Yes. Don't be Noah 2.0. Come on.
Thank you, Roland. Sorry about that. But in all seriousness, the internet does keep receipts. And I think what a lot of Republicans are making a calculation, I think is a miscalculation, is that because Donald Trump has opened up this new wave of acceptance for just inexplicable behavior, for the bigotry, for homophobia, like I said, so much of the negativity around just culture, along with political culture, he's not going to be in power forever. I mean, as much as he would like to, I mean, he is creeping up on 80 years old. He's only got a few years left in his term, as long as we can make sure we vote him out. But the rest of the Republican Party, by welcoming all of this rhetoric and all of this, they're going to have to answer for this in future elections, or they're hoping they don't, but they will. And I think with these young kids and these young working adults, as it was stated earlier, have to be wary of is that just because all this is because they're in an environment now where it's okay, that doesn't mean it's going to be like that in the future. And I do hope future leaders, future opposition, future candidates, wherever they may find Corey here, like that they hold them to account moving forward.
Listen, it's no longer taboo, Larry. The Republican Party, they ain't got no problem. You can be racist, you can say stuff. They're like, cool, promotion.
Yeah, there's no standard and there's no bottom. And we're just a couple months into the administration. Unfortunately, Roland, we'll be talking about this for the next couple of years in terms of this won't be the last story like this. And I imagine that those stories that we talk about in the future would be far worse. But you're right. In the past, under maybe someone like, George Bush Jr., et cetera, these individuals would never have a path back into the Republican Party. But they'll take some time off. In a couple months, they'll get rehired by some consulting firm, and you'll find that they'll do a pity tour and say they're sorry, and they'll blame it on woke culture and whatever else. We've seen this playbook play out time and time again, but they won't be far from being embraced by the same individuals who, openly, Roland, from we see every day, federal officials who make it really clear how they feel about Black folks and other groups. So, I don't feel sorry for the people, but they'll be back, and some of them will certainly at some point be elected officials, which also, once again, goes back to my point about there is no floor.
Mustafa.
You can't have a thriving 21st century nation when it is fueled by hate and bigotry, racism, all the various isms that are out there. And we have a number of other countries that are literally knocking on the door, trying to be the leader on the planet. So these folks really need to understand that in this 21st century, we need to leave those sins in the past. We don't need to bring them forward, especially young people. The weight is too much, and it will stop you from ever truly having a country that lives up to the values and the words that have been put out there for folks as a guidepost.
I want to start by talking about JD Vance, and I want to talk about these kids. So for folks who haven't seen it, there's this Politico story about a leaked text message chain with a bunch of Republican operatives, and they were saying stuff like, I love Hitler, and they were talking about gas chambers, and they were making light of rape and things like that, and slavery. And a lot of people, including like the young college Republicans, spoke out against them. A lot of other Republicans and conservative pundits came out against it. But you know who did it? It was JD Vance. JD Vance rose to these guys' defenses, and they're trying to make them out like they're kids. Some of these guys are like 30 years. And Vance yesterday was both sides against. The first thing he said is he brought up the Democratic candidate for Attorney General in Virginia, saying some pretty awful stuff about, violence, which shouldn't be said, and that's wrong too. And I don't think, both sidesing this is the right way to go. But this is learned behavior for these young Republicans with Donald Trump and JD Vance in charge of the Republican Party. This is what they're going to do. And they don't feel like there's any, structure where they're going to be punished for this. They're going to be given jobs. They'll be future cabinet secretaries in the MAGA movement as far as they're concerned. And the questions I have for Vance that, he'll never answer would be, and I think about this as a father, about the kind of kid I want to raise, is like, would you be okay if your son said these things? Would you be okay if your daughter, when she grew up, dated a man like this? Would you hire somebody like this? Would you say something like this? And I think those are barriers. Those are lines that shouldn't be crossed. And he should answer for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And these kids, I knew that they were going to say these kids, that I should say.
Right.
Yeah, they're like 28 years old. They're not kids.
I know.
Exactly.
I knew they were going to say these kids. And I knew they were going to say, well, this is this kind of locker room talk, and we need to give them. Look, I give college students, a wide berth or whatever, but still, these are the leaders of the future, and some of them the leaders of the party right now, who are very influential. And they wrote on there that they said, if this ever, something I'm paraphrasing here, if people ever find out about this, we'll be canceled. If they ever see this, and they continue to write about it.
Right.
And so I just, even the governor of New York spoke out about it and said, what are you talking about? These aren't children. These aren't kids. These are the future leaders of the party. These are the people that they picked to be the generation that comes after them. This is important shit. It starts as a joke, perhaps, but the stuff that they were talking about, calling black people monkeys and watermelon people or whatever, I mean, that's not funny.
No. And like, I'll add two thoughts to this. Like, one, I think there are large parts of wokeism, quote unquote, to the extent that it exists, that I think did win too far. And there were some legitimate gripes that people had with that, but that's not what this is. Like, this is genuinely offensive, troubling stuff that people in any I've been in plenty of locker rooms. You've been in plenty of locker rooms in your time. Like, I've never heard anybody talk like this. And I would have told them this stuff when I was playing football in high school, or if I was anywhere else. So there's that, but there's also a double standard here that I think needs to be brought up. These are young, largely white Republican operatives that these guys know. And
just so you know, these are the future of the Republican Party. They're young leaders, elected officials, campaign operatives, people working inside the government. These are the ones this is what I wrote yesterday, being groomed to run this country one day.
Yep. And the point I want to make is they're largely relatively young white men. And I know there's some women in there that I've seen, but I haven't seen a single person of color saying anything like this. But when it's a 14-year-old young black man in the inner city who gets killed by a cop, they start acting like they're, a superhuman adult. And so this is the kind of stuff that drives me nuts, is that, they're kids because they're 22. But when it's a 22-year-old college kid, when it's somebody who makes a mistake, a regular person, not somebody in the political system, they have no love or defense for them. And that drives me crazy, usually particularly because they're black or they're Hispanic.
Yeah. If you're watching this and you think the same way, that these are kids and it's fun, these are some of the quotes. Everyone who votes no is going to the gas chamber. That's a quote. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. That's another quote. I'm ready to watch people burn. That's another quote. It was rape. That was another quote. Rape, Hayden. Great. That's another quote. Great. I love Hitler. Another quote. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkeys play ball. That's another quote. Stay in the closet, faggot. Another quote. Fat, stinky Jew is another quote. And that's not all of it.
Yeah. And that's not something I would ever say. It's not something I would ever think. And I just don't get it. I don't get defending them. I don't get the vice president of the United States defending them, other than he has this reflexive view that if the left is mad about something, it must be good. But let's keep in mind, like, JD Vance said some pretty awful shit about Trump in the past. Like, I say this all the time when they're screaming about how we call them Nazis, which we don't. I've never called them Nazis. But, the only serious American politician in this country that's ever called Donald Trump Hitler is JD Vance. So, I mean, this is a guy, I have very little respect for him. And I think you just have to, I come back and I relate it as a dad and somebody who's trying to raise a good man in my son. It's like, if my son ever spoke like this, I would be ashamed of him. I would be disappointed in him. If one of my employees spoke this way, they probably wouldn't work here for very much longer. And that's the question I'd ask JD Vance, is like, if somebody who worked for you spoke this way colloquially in the office, would you tolerate that? And that's not wokeism. It's not a joke. Like, you can go to a comedy show and a comedian can make a joke that you find offensive, and it's okay, in my opinion, because you can choose to leave. Like, that's different than like a giant Republican operative group chat where they're talking this way. This is how they talk in private. This is what they think in private. This is what they want to accomplish in private. And I take them at their word because we keep reaching the bottom of the barrel of what these Republicans are willing to do. And we have to stop sitting here. And how many times have you heard somebody go, they're not going to ever get rid of abortion. They're not going to get rid of Roe v. Wade. They can't do that. And they
right.
Yeah. And now they do the same thing with gay marriage. They do the same thing with the ICE raids. Like, oh, the ICE raids are never going to happen. They're not going to be as serious. And now the city of Chicago is a powder keg with people being pulled off the streets. So there's no bottom to this. Like, we have to take them for their word when they say these things because they keep doing these things.
You know what? Whenever I bring this up, you brought up the point about most of these are young white men and people. I mean, they lose their mind when I talk about this. But when I discuss it, I've been called racist. I've been called delusional or race baiter, anti-white, or that I was just pointing at the obvious. But look, I'm wondering, like, am I those things, or was I just warning people that this would happen? Because it's the truth. It's according to the Cato Institute. It's according to the FBI, right? It's according to the Anti-Defamation League. That, like, there is a problem with these young kids who feel disenfranchised, but also on the others, well, they have to pick up a gun. That's one thing. The other thing is that they also feel now that it is okay to be racist, and they don't see anything wrong with it. And I believe that is because Donald Trump is the imprimatur for all things racist, all bigots. They feel like, okay, now, I have permission to be able to say these things and nothing will happen to me. Yeah. Well, nothing will probably happen to these kids.
And they're not kids. Let's be clear. They're not kids. They're adults.
Excuse me. I can't keep saying kids.
I did the same thing yesterday. I have a very Bible read right now where I called them kids, and I'm like, people are mad at me. And I'm like, you're right. They're not kids.
To these young people, I think nothing will happen to them.
No, I'm telling you, they're going to get promotions inside the Trump administration. It's just like, remember, was it Big Balls was one of Elon's young men that were working inside of Doge, and he was saying all kinds of Nazi Hitler stuff. JD Vance rose to his defense. They fired him, then they brought him back. And this keeps happening. The ICE agent from like 2.5 weeks ago, who violently attacked that woman in the middle of a hallway and threw her to the ground when she was trying to like just see her husband. Like, that guy got fired. DHS released a statement saying this is not the conduct of an officer, and they rehired that guy. That guy is doing his job right now when he shouldn't be doing it.
They hired him back?
They hired him back, yeah.
Damn. Why did they fire him then if they were going to hire him back? I think
somebody in the chain of command there was like, this is wrong, and then they got overruled by somebody else. Because they can't accept any responsibility for their actions. And they certainly can't treat anybody with basic human decency and empathy. Yep. I felt that deep breath you just took in my bones. Like,
I just don't know. I don't know what to make of this. So let's talk about that, about all the people who are getting beaten up around the country. Did you see this woman in the New York courthouse yesterday?
No, I haven't.
Which I think is the energy we all need.
No.
She was amazing. She stood up to these guys at the courthouse, and she said, come at me, bro. And I want to play it for you. And I know it's you'll be able to hear it, but I want to play it for you. Wait, let me get it to the point. Hang on one second. I just want to get it to the point.
While Don's doing that, I want to remind people, please subscribe to both Don and I's Substack. Support the work that we're doing. Don is crushing right now on YouTube. Go follow him on YouTube. Become a paid subscriber. Support the work that both of us are doing to build independent media that can speak out about what's happening in this country right now, because we don't have enough of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Okay, here it is. So,
Don.
Here we go.
You okay?
No, how can I be okay? You okay? Are you okay?
Are you okay?
I look like I'm okay? Don't come up in my face here because I hit hard. Fuck wrong with y'all.
Try it.
I wish you would.
Try it.
You try me and see what the fuck happened. Nigga, we angry. All of us angry out here. So don't think it's y'all alone.
Get out of here.
Who you telling get out of here? Why you telling me get out of here? You asked me a question and I'm answering you.
Get out of here. Man.
Fuck wrong with you? Oh, stupid ass bitch. That's why you gotta hide your face.
You wanna go to jail?
You told me my mother can tell you anything.
You wanna go to jail?
Fuck wrong with you? You wanna hit me? Hit me, bitch. You ain't got me. Nobody's scared of you. You're a pussy ass. Come. I got rings on, bitch. So me and you gonna fight, you pussy bitch. You a pussy bitch. That's why your kids them don't like you and your wife is fucking on you. That's why you gotta hide your face. My face ain't hidden, bitch. I'm American, you stupid bitch. Fuck wrong with y'all. You can take me too high. I'm Charlotte the Zodiac friends. You know what to do? Tell them, no. You want me? Fuck wrong with y'all. Fuck all of you. Put that on the news. Let Trump see it. Bunch of fucking rednecks.
Remind me
He
never.
said, put Trump on the news and let him fucking see it, you bunch of fucking rednecks.
I like it's the I'm from this country, you motherfucker.
She said, I'm a citizen, and then she said her full name. She goes, I'm whatever Azul, but and if you want, that's who I am. I'm not afraid of you. Look, I think we need that kind of energy because people are tired and they're frustrated. When I was in Chicago, I noticed that. I realized that people were coming to me all the time saying, I'm tired of people telling me how to mourn, meaning talking about Charlie Kirk, not that they were mourning, or how to react to the death of someone that I found repugnant. I'm tired of people telling me that I'm not supposed to feel that way, or they're trying to monitor and censor what I say and feel. That's not what America's about. I'm tired of people pulling people off the streets and at person after person after person. And I do believe the anger level in this country is boiling. And guess who's causing it? They are causing the problem. And if there is an emergency, right, where he wants to invoke the Insurrection Act, it's going to be because they incited it just like he incited and inspired an insurrection.
Yeah, that's what they want. Like, they are terrorizing the city of Chicago right now because they want the people of this city to react in a way that is violent so that they can justify the Insurrection Act, so that they can turn Chicago into a test case for all the shit that they want to do to militarize our cities. And that's not right. And I will say, this city is not backing down, but is also not playing into their hands. The city's being really, really smart about how it's responding and coordinating. Like, I've spent the last week helping to coordinate drop-offs and pickups at schools. We're doing a Know Your Rights event at the school that I'm on the council of tomorrow with all our elected officials. Our congressman's going to be.
Did you see the woman picked up today or yesterday?
I haven't seen anything today. I've been in meetings all day.
There was a woman picked up yesterday, and she was in two women. She was in a pink sweatshirt. Threw her to the ground, and she's saying, my name is, she gives her name, and she goes, they have no warrant, they have no, and they said, my door was locked, and they unlocked it remotely. And I was like, wow, how do they, I guess they have the technology. And she said, and they pulled both of the women out of the car. At least I saw the one. I believe there was another woman. Both of them, Mike, were later released and not charged with anything.
They're going after people indiscriminately, Don. There's another video that I saw last night of a guy who was in his car, and I step out of the car and he's like, what have I done? What are you accusing me of? Do you have a warrant? Is there something? They don't even know this guy's name. They're making determinations about people because their skin color is brown. That's all that it is, or because they look Hispanic. That's it. And then they're going to figure out everything else later. So they're detaining a bunch of people who are here legally, people who were born here. And look, like that woman in that video right now, if I had to guess, she's from like the Virgin Islands, just based on her accent. I'm making an assumption there, but like, she's part of the United States. She's American. And these people don't even know that like Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico are part of the United States. That's why they're attacking Bad Bunny. Like TPUSA is planning that they're going to do their halftime show because they're offended that they couldn't get a real American to perform at the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny is from fucking Puerto Rico, is probably the biggest superstar on the planet besides Taylor Swift, and is going to play at the halftime show. And they don't even consider him in America because he's brown. Like, what the hell is this?
What the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know what that is.
I know what it is, but
I know it's a figure of speech, but I'm just saying, you know what it is. It's fucking racism.
Right.
Yep. That's what it is. It's white supremacy. They don't think anybody's a real American unless they're white. And guess what? Even the white folks are not real Americans.
Right.
The only real American, if you want to qualify it that way, if that's how
came over on the Mayflower. That's it.
And define real Americans, then all brown people who are walking around in this country who come from Native American ancestry. And even some Mexican people who were here before white people came. If you want to say real Americans, they're actually the real Americans. So you just stop that bullshit. But they're so ignorant they don't understand. The conversations that I had on the ground in Chicago were just mind-boggling. Number one, speaking of picking up people indiscriminately, 66-year-old black man, born in America, had his birth certificate there, his state ID, his social security card. He said they didn't care. They just didn't want to see it. It was in his backpack. Yet they took his backpack, but they rounded him up and took him in.
Right. Did you see the woman? See the woman who is adopted? So she has a white sounding last name, and she carries her passport around because she's Hispanic, and they pulled her over. And she goes, here's my passport. This is my full name, et cetera. And they keep going. I don't remember what her last name was, so I'm sorry to say it, but it's like, they were like, you don't look like a Johnson. You don't look like a Johnson. This isn't real. This passport's not real. So now they're questioning, because the show your papers people can easily become the your papers aren't real people. And so it's just going to be like one layer deeper to attack these people. And what they're really doing is they're terrorizing people that, in my opinion, are just as American as you or I. All right. Yeah. I'm the first person to tell you, get rid of anybody who's violent, secure the border. Those are right things. I think Democrats have to take responsibility for the conditions that we've created that allowed Republicans to win and do the type of things that they're doing. But they've taken it too far and they're harassing anybody that's here. And again, if you are working hard and taking care of your family and contributing to your community, you're a fucking American in my books. I don't care what your immigration status is. I really don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just, when I was there, I encountered some people who said they're not violating people's due process or anyone's rights. They're asking them for papers. And I'm like, no, they're not, ma'am.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. Yeah. Can we talk about
it's bad. And it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. It's going to get worse. I'm glad you said that. It's going to get worse because the longer I believe that we allow this to happen, meaning Americans, the media, all of us, Donald Trump becomes more emboldened. And I actually think at this point, he's probably surprised by what he's been able to get away with.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about that is I think they're probably a little surprised with how unpopular these moves are. And LA was unpopular. What's happening in Portland is unpopular. The public is aware of what's happening in Chicago, and about 60% of them oppose the militarization of the cities. They don't believe that Chicago is a war-torn city. So they're failing at the communication game. I think because Democrats and the independent press and people online are doing a good job of pushing back on that stuff. If they thought this was popular, if they were seeing popular support for this, it would be actually much worse than it is right now. And Trump is very vain and aware of his numbers and aware of the midterms. So the more that we push back and create the conditions where people don't accept this as something that the American people that this country's government's going to do, we're a little bit safer. I say a little bit because it's not a ton. They still may go haywire, but they're shitting bricks right now about the No Kings protest this weekend because we're going to get millions of people out in the streets, and they are afraid of what happens when people rise up and when they see that they have more power than the government does. And that's what
Mike, they're going to do something to try to distract. They're going to do. I mean, maybe they'll declare a war or something somewhere.
Yeah, and you know what? The mainstream media will bite on that. That's what they'll invite you and I on TV to talk about. But independent media needs to stay focused.
Yeah, we will stay focused. But yes, they will bite on that as they always do. And as they are now, because I don't see nearly enough coverage of these people getting beaten up. I'm surprised that it's not wall-to-wall coverage that people in America, many of them American citizens, if not most of them that they're rounding up, or are in the process of becoming an American citizen, they're just having their rights violated. It's not, and what the Fifth Amendment says, what is it? That all persons, not citizens, deserves the right to, innocent until proven guilty and due process. Yep. But, I think the more that I hope you're right, that they're embarrassed. I shouldn't say embarrassed. They're concerned about the numbers and maybe that'll slow it down. But I also think, as I said, the more that they're allowed to get away with, the more emboldened they will become, like Pete Hegseth over at the Pentagon, now demanding that people sign a paper saying that they're going to run everything that they're about to report or publish by him.
Yep. But you know what?
The fuck is that?
But you know what?
Right.
The media's standing up to them, and I apologize, everybody. My phone's about to die, so I have it plugged in, but I'm burning more power than I'm getting in the plug-in right now. So Don, I might have to go in like 3 minutes, or if I drop it. All right. But I mean, look, the press are standing up to him. Even Fox News said no. Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS, they all said no. And that should tell you that, like, again, they're the definition of give a mouse a cookie. Every time somebody has obeyed in advance or complied with what they've wanted, they've come back and asked for more. Anytime that somebody has said no and put a hard line in the sand, they've largely left them alone. You see these, I think MIT was the first school this week to reject this loyalty pledge that the Trump administration tried to get them to sign. The media is rejecting it. He's increasingly unpopular. I do think we're winning this fight. We just have a lot of very dangerous people running the government, which means it could go in any different direction. They could declare the Insurrection Act. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And I think they'll be surprised at the reaction from the American people on that. The American people do not like being tread on, and that includes a lot of conservatives too.
Yeah. Well, look, as far as the media goes, I'm glad that they're standing up. I just think they should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be in this position right now. Mike, I'll let you go since your phone is having issues. As much as I like looking at your handsome face, I'm going to
right back at everybody.
See you next time. Thank you. I'll see you later. Mike Nellis.
Bye, everybody.
And ladies and gents, as you watch with me, there's two very important videos about what's going on about these quote unquote kids. That's the thing that really pissed me off. And they say on Don't Let Me say anything about that, the locker room talk. Do you remember in the first time that Trump got caught talking about grab food, man, I'm gonna grab them by the pussy, and then Melania okay, this locker room talk, the men talk like this, yeah. They always try to give excuse to justify when they get caught. The same way these young people, they're in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? You live the young for me, past that time is if they were like 10 years old, 12 years old, even though they probably hear from the parents or yada 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 yada, you can quote unquote not justify, but you can say these are kids. 30 years old, you're not a kid. You're a grown human being. All right, so what's right and what's wrong. And for this, the true believers, and the fakeness of the white Christian, say that, oh, you believe in Jesus, but let's talk about the N-word, talk about all the stuff they were talking about that. So it's on Political, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know more, Political is the one that report all that. You can go to probably the website and find out exactly all the details of it, all the whole report. I think that's the main source that you can find all the details if you want to know. But it's the reality how we're living nowadays, ladies and gents. And to me, racism is a disease because you keep passing. No children are born racist. They are the products of the environment and how they're being raised by their parents. Look around. Go to the kindergarten, a daycare, or any park. No, you're going to see a bunch of kids play around, and kids gonna be kids, and they don't care about your skin color. They don't care about it. They're going to play around, and they just want to have fun. The problem is the adults that keep putting this poison, the racism on their minds. And they become awful human beings because they believe in this garbage. And also I would state that so many white people use the Bible, some verses of the Bible, to justify their acts, but also they use that as a tool to advance their agenda. But they don't believe in Jesus, because if they do, they will not act like that. If they will really follow the example of Jesus Christ, that was all in red, the red letters on Bible verses, that has the words of Jesus are in red letters, then you know that Jesus was all about the kid, was all about take care of the poor, the disabled, the elder population, for those, take care of those that are suffering. So for these people, they still claim, and they're just like Michael Johnson claimed that, oh, my life is a Bible. No, you're not. You're fake. You can see your fakeness, your lies, and you are after homosexual, and that's your profile on Grindr. Ladies and gentlemen. So the hypocrisy. And then that's his public twice. Every time they have some kind of Republican convention, a Republican gathering, they grind the app, goes nuts, goes crazy. Because all this fake white Christian men, during the day they are there, participate in the events, at night they are creeping. Try to find other men to have some kind of adult fun about it. that's what happened on Charlie Kirk event, and also happened last year when the Republicans convention, I believe was in Ohio, happened. That they crushed the sites. So the hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? So spare me with that bullshit. That's what it is. Call it what it is, ladies and gents. It's some bullshit. So, unfortunately, these people not gonna be held accountable because what state right there, they probably gonna slap in the hand, let it go, disappear for a second, take a vacation, come back in 3 weeks, and get your job back. Basically, that's what's gonna happen. But ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you. Now, hopefully, I don't know what this event's gonna be. Now today, on the No Kings Parade, I believe it's in DC, if I'm not mistaken. Do your search, Google, and what's going on today. But it's up to you, ladies and gents. And I hope what's going on in the country right now is a wake-up call to those people that do not vote, that decide to stay in the house. And for those people that vote for Trump and the Republican Party now, you feeling that you're going to be bamboozled. Hopefully, I hope that's going to be a wake-up call that for the next election, you participate and you vote for the right candidates that is going to do something for you. Not for those that you believe that once something happened, ask the Cubans here in Florida now. You can ask it, you can do a search to see what happened to them. But they make it sound, I will vote for Donald Trump. Guess that Donald Trump or the Cuba, one of the bans, the countries that are on the ban list of the United States. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gents? So, hopefully, that's a wake-up call to the nation. All right, so ladies and gents, I'm going to have to talk about it. I'm ending this right now. If you like this video, ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor. Click on the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more very interesting hot topic discussion coming following Saturdays, ladies and gents. And please be safe, be kind, and be blessed. And do the best what you can do with what you got. Salute. And I'll see you next Saturday. Holla!